Hi guys, we're going to be working on Section 3, Conserving Biodiversity today. Here are your essential questions. What are the two classes of natural resources? What are the methods used to conserve biodiversity? And what are the two techniques to restore biodiversity? So hopefully by the end of this presentation, you will be able to answer all three of those questions. Your vocabulary, this should already be in your notebook. If it's not, it needs to get there ASAP. Natural resources. The rate of consumption of natural resources is not evenly distributed. Each country does not use the same number of resources. Each person does not use the same number of resources. You'll notice Canada and the United States use a lot more resources than a lot of other countries in the world. Bangladesh uses very few compared to even the United Kingdom. This bar right here is the average of all developed countries. So you can see that we use a lot more than the rest of the world. Renewable resources. Resources that are replaced by natural processes faster than they are consumed are called renewable resources. These include resources like solar energy, agricultural plants, animals, clean water, and clean air. Resources that are found on Earth in limited amounts, or those that are not replaced by natural processes over extremely long periods of time, are called non-renewable resources. So these are the ones that take a long time to regenerate or don't regenerate at all. Non-renewable resources, resources that are found on Earth in limited amounts, or those that are replaced by natural processes over extremely long periods of time. These include fossil fuels and mineral deposits. So we use them really quickly, and they are not being replenished at that same rate. Renewable versus non-renewable resources. The classification of a resource as renewable or non-renewable depends upon the context that it is used in. Sustainable use means using resources at a rate at which they can be replaced or recycled while preserving the long-term environmental health of the biosphere. So if you ever look at the package of copy paper that we use here at school, it may say sustainably sourced, which means that the trees are farmed specifically for making paper. They will grow the trees, cut them down, clean up the area, and then replant trees so that they are constantly going through the cycle of growing, getting cut down, replanted, growing, being cut down, replanted, so that they are used over and over again. Protecting biodiversity. Biodiversity hotspots. Biodiversity hotspots must have at least 1,500 endemic vascular plants and have lost 70% of its original habitat. Endemic means that it is found only in one specific geographic location. So you can't go anywhere else and find that species. There is a species of crawdads here in Missouri that is only found in a creek called Carver Creek. It's between Arcadia Valley and Lesterville. So that is an endemic species. It is found only in that one stream. Biodiversity hotspots contain approximately half of all plant and animal species on the planet. Protecting biodiversity. Corridors between habitat fragments. They connect smaller parcels of land, smaller areas, allowing organisms to move safely between them. They create a larger piece of land that can sustain a wider variety of species and a wider variety of genetics, a larger pool so that it is easier for organisms to adapt to a changing environment or to be protected from a disease. Can also pass disease and infection between fragments and increase edge effects. Restoring ecosystems. Biological communities can recover from natural and human-made disasters given the appropriate amount of time. The larger the affected area, the longer it takes for that biological community to recover. Ecologists use two methods to speed recovery time: bioremediation and biological augmentation. Over here on the right, we have a graph showing natural disasters. The greenish ones are natural disasters, yellow, human disasters, or blue, which are natural or human-caused disasters. So it's not clear what the actual cause was there. So here we have the size of the affected area and the approximate recovery time. So you'll notice that man-made disasters are usually pretty high up on the list. Bioremediation. This is the use of living organisms such as prokaryotes, fungi, or plants. Prokaryotes are generally bacteria, fungi, mushrooms, those kinds of things, or plants to detoxify a polluted area is called bioremediation. If you guys think back to the BP oil spill in the Gulf of Mexico, BP used a lot of bacteria to help break down that oil into more manageable materials that were easier to absorb, or that broke them down so that they would settle to the ocean floor and not cause as much damage in that ecosystem. Biological augmentation is adding natural predators to a degraded ecosystem. This would be like an area that is heavily populated with deers. Those deer have overgrazed. They're becoming, they've reached their carrying capacity and they're no longer healthy. Disease is spreading through that population. So scientists and conservationists might introduce wolves into that area to help lower the deer population so that the sick and the older deer are eliminated, and that leaves more resources for the younger, more healthy deer to consume. Legally protecting biodiversity. The United States Endangered Species Act was enacted in 1973, and it was designed to legally protect species that were becoming or are in danger of becoming extinct. The International Treaty, the Convention of International Trade in Endangered Species of Wild Fauna and Flora, or CITES, was signed in 1975. You might be wondering what flora and fauna are. Flora means plants, fauna means animals. And this treaty outlawed the trade of endangered species and animal parts. You might be wondering, animal parts, Ferris, what is that? This would be like when an endangered species is hunted because it is a delicacy in some countries. Certain sharks are being hunted because their fins are a delicacy. Or there is some claim, some old wives' tale that says that it will improve a medical condition, so it is being hunted for that. So that is it for this section, guys. Hopefully you can answer these 3 essential questions and understand the vocabulary. Now, I know that most of you do not listen to these videos, and I would like to do a little experiment to see who does that. So if you will send me an email with your favorite soda, next week I will bring you a soda of your choice. So you must email me your name, your hour, and what kind of soda you prefer.